Hello, Lakers Nation. Welcome into Lakers Nation Live. I am Trevor Lane. You can find me over on X at Trevor_Lane, on Instagram and Threads at Trevor Lane NBA. Rough night for your Los Angeles Lakers. They don't get the win. In fact, they get blown out for the second straight night. The Lakers falling to the Atlanta Hawks in a very tough one. Give up 138 points in this one. Gave up 135 last night. The defense started to become a big concern. Now, of course, no Anthony Davis for this game. Sat out. Was pretty gimpy last night against the Houston Rockets. The Lakers decided less than a 24-hour turnaround. Probably not the best situation to play AD in. So no AD. And the Lakers, their offense was just fine, with the exception of the free throw line, obviously. And we'll talk about that. But the Lakers shoot 53% from the field, 36% from three. Okay. Especially with no AD. You'll take that. Free throw line 14 of 25. That's pretty brutal. 56%. 122 points. That'll get it done. That's typically enough. The problem is the Lakers got very few stops. In fact, the Hawks 53% from the field, 138 points scored, 42% from three on 38 attempts. They clearly dominated the Lakers in that area, and then 16 of 18 at the free throw line. So the Lakers took 7 more free throws than the Hawks. And the Hawks made 2 more free throws than the Lakers did. The free throw line definitely hurt the Lakers in this one. Obviously, that wasn't everything, though. That doesn't make up the entire score disparity here. But 12 offensive rebounds for Atlanta. Atlanta looked much more energized, much more ready to play than this Lakers team did, which on one hand, you look at this and you want to say, second night of a back-to-back on the road, it's one of my least favorite scenarios. I hate it for the NBA. I think you get bad quality basketball as a result of that. And I think that's a factor. I think that context is important. It is a factor. It's not everything, though. It's not everything. Here's why you can't play LeBron 37 minutes the night before in a blowout loss. Here's why you can't play D'Angelo Russell 41 minutes in a blowout loss. Because this is what happens the next night. That's not on the back-to-back. That's not on the schedule. That's on you. That's on Darvin. That's on you for, defying convention and playing guys in a blowout game when you're playing the next night. That's the Lakers' own fault. Can't do that and expect the team to come out and have energy the next night, and that's certainly what we saw in this one. LeBron, 7 for 17 shooting. He tried. You saw some moments where LeBron tried to get going. 20 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. Big play. LeBron had a chase down block, went flying down the court. Chase down block. There's another Hawks player right there just to pick up the ball and dunk it after LeBron went flying off the court because no other Laker bothered to get back. He's got to be frustrated. He's got to be frustrated. The moments where he did say, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to try to get this team going. Nobody else really went with him. Austin Reeves, not a bad performance here. 28 points. We needed that kind of a scoring output from him. 10 for 19 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3, 5 of 7 at the free throw line, 6 assists. Did have a couple of turnovers, 2 steals. I thought the pressure defense from DeJounte Murray, who we'll talk about in a moment, was a factor, gave Austin some troubles. But again, this is a pretty efficient night from him. D'Lo, 3 for 11, 5 assists, and he looked pretty tired out there. Looked like he was playing on heavy legs, which again, the Lakers chose that. They chose that for D'Angelo Russell, putting 41 minutes on him last night in a game that was a blowout loss. Rui Hachimura did some things well, 16 points, 4 boards, 7 for 11 shooting. Taurean Prince only played 25 minutes in this one. Didn't do a lot in those minutes. 7 points, 1 steal. 12 points for Jared Vanderbilt, who was the most energized Laker by far, and maybe he should be. He only played 7 minutes last night before getting ejected, but 12 points, 4 boards, 6 of 6 from the field, 2 steals, 3 assists. Jared Vanderbilt did a little bit of everything for LA. Christian Wood, 9 points, 8 boards, and Christian Wood with the tweet of the night. Right after the Lakers lineup was submitted, Christian Wood tweeting out a cryptic LOL. Perhaps, and a lot of people took it to mean he was not thrilled with Jackson Hayes drawing the start over him. Jackson Hayes, 6 boards, 4 steals, did get some run in garbage time, 6 points, 3 of 4 shooting on the night. All right, everybody. I'm going to get into some of your questions and comments. I know you guys are frustrated, and rightfully so, after a game like that. Never something you want to see. Your team looking lethargic, listless, exhausted, all of the above, and dropping yet another game. And now look what's on deck. Boston on Thursday. The Knicks on Saturday. Two of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference. Every time it feels like this team is, okay, they've figured it out. They've turned the corner. Bam. They hit you right back down into the ground to make sure you know that no, we have not. Let's see what we've got coming in here in the chat. Joseph said, God must be a Celtics fan. Well, that's just blasphemous right there. That's blasphemy. Because Darvin Ham is a torture reserved only for hell. Ouch. Drop coverage, horrible rotations, and 5 out. It's the hope that kills you. I mean, as I was just saying, they constantly show you just enough to make you think, okay, here we go. They figured it out. Oh, no, wait. No, they haven't. This is the bad place. Maybe that's what's going on here. But yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough, the up and down roller coaster nature of the season. But once again, like, I have a hard time, and you guys have heard me over the years. I hate back-to-backs on the road. I'm not great with that kind of travel, so I can kind of empathize with that situation. And it's something that I've consistently spoken about, that I really hate about the NBA schedule, that you have back-to-backs on the road. And even I can't look at this and say, well, it's just a back-to-back on the road, scheduled loss or whatever, because they did this to themselves. They had opportunities to rest their guys last night, and they declined to take those opportunities. This is what happens. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's what they did. Andrew, seems like the team's not interested in playing for Ham anymore. Comments in interviews and tweets, just attitude in the huddle / timeouts, no energy at all. You know, that's something that I kind of poked fun at that a little bit in the shorter video that I put out today. I've been doing a few of those, just trying to laugh through, some of the issues that the Lakers have been dealing with. But he's supposed to be the guy that everybody wants to run through a brick wall for. And that certainly doesn't seem to be the case right now, does it? Doesn't seem to be the case. It doesn't feel like this team is very united. It feels like this team is very fractured. So what are you getting then? Like, every coach has their thing that they're good at, that they're great at, right? I thought Frank Vogel was great game-to-game adjustments in playoff series. Obviously, he's a good defensive coach. Phil Jackson, made the greatest coach ever in a lot of ways. But Darvin, it was supposed to be, he's the guy. Man, that's the dude. I want to follow that guy. I'm going to run through a wall for him. That effect doesn't seem to be happening. Doesn't seem to be happening, does it? Trevor, do you have any tips for handling some Lakers fans? Losing is one thing, but I can't stand the overreactions. Every single hour, it's exhausting. Overreactions meaning what? To trade things, to Darvin Ham things, to just, people are frustrated. And I think that's to be expected. You expect people to be frustrated. And so that's why I take things with a grain of salt. People get upset with me, right? If I'm not ranting and raving and shouting and screaming and all that. And that's not really my personality. You guys have seen my sense of humor come out a little bit more lately. You've gotten a little bit better sense of kind of who I am as a person or whatever. But other than that, I'm also not the guy that flies off the handle. I'm not Stephen A. Smith or whatever. As far as how you handle this kind of stuff, I take it with a grain of salt. Because people should be upset. Does that frustration get put into the wrong places sometimes? Sure, sometimes. But I tend to take a step back and look big picture. If I'm frustrated with somebody who's getting angry with me because I'm not being as demanding as I should be, if I'm not ranting and raving like they want it to, because they're so angry right now, I take that to be, that's passion for the team. And that's part of what makes this franchise great. That's part of what makes Lakers Nation great. That people care. And that's part of why people get frustrated when you watch the team on the floor and it feels like they don't care. And that's not man-to-man, player-to-player. But every once in a while you see games and you feel like, man, It looks like I cared more about them winning this game than they did. When there's that kind of disconnect, people get frustrated. People get upset because people do care about the team. And that's a good thing. Wicked Bronco. I don't understand why the Lakers do this crap every back-to-back. They went 2-0 in a single back-to-back this season, and it's mainly due to Ham overplaying AD and Braun in blowout losses or wins and then purposely resting them. Yeah. I mean, it makes no sense. It's counterintuitive. We talked about it yesterday. You guys saw on last night's postgame show. Matt the Optimist Peralta said I was about as upset as he's ever seen me. It made no sense to play LeBron 37 minutes last night and to play D'Lo 41 minutes last night in a blowout loss. Like, that is the silver lining. If you get blown out the first night of the back-to-back is, hey, your guys don't have to log as many minutes. Maybe you're not as exhausted for the second night of the back-to-back. That's the silver lining. They said, no, thank you. Nope, we don't want a silver lining. We're going to play him more minutes anyway. Nonsense. Kazuchika said, Prince, JHS, and a second for Wemby? Come on, the Spurs aren't moving from Wemby. We're getting into craziness there. Shaking my head. We're just not good, man. Our season is about to be over after this stretch. Apart from the chip this year, the in-season tournament, it's just been misery being a Lakers fan. Some BS every year with aging stars. We're not good. I mean, the team right now is very middle of the pack, aren't they? Aren't they middle of the pack right now? That's what they are. So I don't look at this team and think this team's good, because they're certainly not right now. They're not. I still think the pieces on this team have some potential, but obviously some things are off. Some things on the court, some things off the court are not right with this group, because they can't get any kind of traction. They can't have any kind of consistency. They're 2 steps forward, 2 steps back all season long. All season long, with the exception of the tournament games. They've been 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Can they make enough moves, significant changes at the trade deadline in order to fix that? We'll find out. It's coming up February 8th. It's trade deadline, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see what the Lakers do. But not good. Not good right now. There's no question. And this stretch, this was the critical stretch where we said the Lakers needed to win a significant amount of their games. In fact, Sean was saying you wanted to see them go 5-2. Right now they are 1-2. So you're not going to go. You're not beating both the Celtics and the Knicks, I don't think. So that's tough. Right now, you're hoping you can finish this road trip 500. Like, at least you play Charlotte, I guess. But these losses are going to really hurt because March and April are so bad. The schedule is brutal in March and April. So dropping games right now, you can go, well, it's still January, right? Barely, but it's still January. Yeah, but you needed to stockpile wins now, because there aren't going to be a lot of wins coming in March and April. It's going to be tough. Shay Jordan, thank you, said, down 19, why is LeBron playing these minutes? Wish I knew. Seriously, this was embarrassing. No energy, no effort, and all that Ham garbage. He's lost the locker room. Pork out. Yeah, I think that was O'Shea Jackson Jr. Who said something. What was it? No pork on the fork or something like that. Yeah, funny stuff. But same thing. Lakers were down big. LeBron stayed in the game. I mean, he's racking up tons of minutes. Played what? 36 minutes tonight in a blowout loss. 37 minutes last night in a blowout loss. Played 48 minutes against the Warriors. Thank goodness they won that game. But these are a ton of minutes that you're putting on LeBron right now. And once again, some of this is by choice. By choice. Jason Kelly, if LeBron's top goal is a ring, he needs to leave LA. With tech billionaires and collectives buying teams, I don't see Genie able to lead a franchise to a ring. We don't even employ a shooting coach. Shaking my head. I mean, they've got coaches that could teach shooting. There's no question. But I get the point. I mean, you've got the new ownership groups that are in the NBA. You've got ownership groups coming in that are, that for them, a team is a toy, right? A team is, well, they're still going to treat it as a business. It's a toy. For the Buss family, the team is their business, right? Like that is their main thing. For a lot of these owners that are coming in, like, I mean, Steve Ballmer's an extreme example, the richest owner in sports, but for some of these owners coming in, it's like, well, all right, you need an extra 10 million for a player? All right, I got that in my couch cushions over there. It's different. Now, obviously, the Lakers are an extremely valuable franchise. And so by no means should we look at the Lakers and have them cry poor or anything. But in terms of how much money they actually have available, it's a little different when you're looking at some of these new ownership groups. Mamba Mentality said the trade is over for me unless you want to give up D'Lo, Austin Reeves, a pick swap for a slight upgrade. In my opinion, see what you can get elsewhere or wait for the offseason. Keep the picks, players, and go for the bigger fish. Boy, I'll tell you this, DeJounte Murray sure looked good tonight. Lakers audition, if you want to call it that. 24 points, 9 assists, 2 steals, hit big buckets down the stretch, 11 for 19. The only problem with what he did tonight was 0 for 4 from deep, which maybe is a little bit of a concern, but Trae Young was fine, 6 for 9, so he made up for it there, 26 points and 13 assists for Trae Young. DeJounte Murray looked great, and if the Lakers have any interest in trading for him, I'd imagine that probably didn't help the price at all, that the Lakers just got beat up, and DeJounte was pretty much unstoppable. He did some good things defensively too, pressuring Lakers ball handlers. So as far as the trade goes, I don't know this changes the Lakers' stance or anything like that. It doesn't help their leverage, I don't think in any way, but I think they probably are still in the same position as they were before, and we'll see if they're going to get something done or not. One of the things to keep in mind too, it's like even if people say, you know what, just do it, just trade Austin. The Hawks don't want just Austin. The Hawks want picks, pick swaps, Austin, JHS. They want all this stuff in exchange for DeJounte Murray. Now, maybe after tonight's game, you're saying, oh, it's worth it, do it. And DeJounte did look good, but that's not been the Lakers' stance. Their stance has been, we want to build something around D'Lo and go that route for DeJounte Murray. The Hawks, I think, want Austin Reeves, and I don't think the Lakers want to move him in this kind of a deal. People latch on, and we talked about this, they latch on to this whole untouchable thing. It's not really untouchable. Just, they're not going to move him unless they're getting the big fish that you're talking about in the offseason. Bruh said, Jackson Hayes is such a funny player to watch. I've never seen an NBA player that sucks at nearly everything he does. It's incredible. How'd he get a player option? That's a good question. I don't know how he got the player option, but it's actually kind of a problem for the Lakers because he's probably going to pick that up. I don't think he's getting more than a minimum next season. So he's going to pick up that option, which means he's sitting on your books and money's going to be tight over the summer. So it's actually kind of a big deal that he's got that player option. In fact, I think the Lakers, if they do nothing else, I would imagine they're probably going to move Jackson Hayes by the trade deadline. And maybe they'll have to pay somebody a second round pick or something to do it. But I think they're going to move Jackson Hayes. Hayes does some things well. He's still extremely athletic, but he's undersized. He's not big enough, not strong enough. You see him getting bullied in the post. And part of this too is the Lakers don't really use him correctly. The one thing that he does have that a lot of bigs don't is quick feet, but the Lakers don't put him in many situations to use that. Instead, they put him in like drop coverage, which doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's part of it, but Hayes also has just not been good. Mikhail76 said, someone take down the in-season tournament banner. We don't deserve it. Maybe it would fire them up. No pride or effort. We're the laughing stock of the league. I mean, there's certainly teams in the league that are worse than the Lakers right now, but this is a frustrating game. There's no question. This is a frustrating stretch. It's a frustrating team. Aside from the in-season tournament win, it's been a frustrating season. It's been a lot of pain, a lot of ups and downs, more downs than ups, and it feeling like this team just can never get to where they want to go, can never string together any sense of games or make you feel in any way comfortable that they're going to perform in a certain way. We just don't see them reach out with any consistency. And it's unfortunate. Wicked Bronco said, Latrev, please explain to me why we always sit AD and LeBron at the worst times throughout the season. I don't see many 510 seed teams load manage. I mean, AD wasn't like a load management thing, I don't think. I really don't think the plan, I could be wrong, but I don't think the plan was for AD to sit out this game at the start of the road trip. I think AD looking so gimpy last night in Houston and even making comments after the game about how he couldn't really move right. I think that's why he sat out this game. I don't think this was like planned load management here and AD's fine. I think he actually is pretty banged up, and that's why he's not playing or didn't play in tonight's game. So, yeah, I don't look at this as they load managed Anthony Davis. I think he's really that hurt right now. Bobby Portis said Murray is so nice. Yeah, Murray looked great in this game. If this was a Lakers audition, it was a very good one. A very good one. Vinny, after seeing the game, I'm for the Murray trade instead of waiting for the summer to make a move. Do you guys agree we need his defense? Well, his defense is good. Now, you also saw, though, a bit of what Murray is. Did you see him hitting a bunch of threes? No, he was 0 for 4 from 3. Where did he really cause problems? Getting into the paint and hitting the little floater in the paint. That's what he did, the little jumpers in the paint, and then occasionally, knock in the 15-footer or whatever. He is three-point line and in. That's where he's at his best. Is he going to have that kind of space on this Lakers team? The Hawks have a bunch of shooters around him, and so he's got a little more room to operate. He's kind of a little De'Aaron Fox-esque in the way that he scores, maybe even like a smaller DeMar DeRozan type in terms of the jumpers and everything. So that's what he does. That's his game. So that's the problem. I mean, it's a good thing. He's very good at what he does, but it's also a problem because what's the skill set that fits best with LeBron and AD just conceptually? It's three-point shooting and great defense. I think he can give you great defense, but he's not necessarily going to give you that great three-point shooting, that floor spacing. He's not the guy that's going to just going to camp out from behind the three-point line and light you up from deep. What he wants to do is dribble in, make a couple moves, and then take his little shot there in the paint. And he hits a lot of them. He's great at it. He's very efficient at it. But is that going to fit with what the Lakers need? I think it can, but it's not a perfect fit. So that's the challenge there. And right now he's the probably the biggest guy that's out there on the market in terms of quality. Kronos said, imagine Frank with Vando, Rui, Max, Cam, Wood instead of Bazemore, Ariza, Ellington, Melo, Jordan. I miss all the blitzing and hedging this front office. I do think that Frank Vogel got unfairly blamed for that season. Now, I don't think Vogel was great that season either. The biggest criticism I had of Frank Vogel that season was that he didn't take a team and make them better than the sum of their parts. He took a roster that was pretty flawed, and he wasn't able to overcome that in any kind of way. That's not saying that's all his fault. In fact, I think when we're passing out pieces of the blame pie, Frank's piece was pretty small. But unfortunately, he took the fall for it. He took the fall for that season, and I do think he's a good coach. I think he's a good coach. Now, offensively, is he the most creative guy? No, he's not. You need to pair him with a really good offensive coach. That's not him, but you make a good point. If he had the defensive players that the Lakers have right now, what does the defense look like? Are they getting lit up by 138 points? Probably not. M. Dread, Darvin Ham's trash. Give non-starters a shot at playing time? Or at this point? I mean, they're playing, guys. Jay Delgado said two things. They won't play hard for Ham, and they're waiting for that trade before playing decent. Ham will probably be gone once the season is over. See, that's actually a problem, though. That's a problem. Like, if the Lakers are looking at things and saying, you know what? Trade deadline comes, and we're going to do what we did last year. We're going to make a run post-trade deadline. Everything's going to be just fine. Just hover around 500, and we'll do it all again. History will repeat itself. If that is in any way in their mind, somebody needs to tape up the schedule in front of them. This is March. Denver, OKC, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Sacramento. That's your first 2 weeks of March. Denver, OKC, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Sacramento. That's just the first 2 weeks. Then you go Golden State, Atlanta, Philly, Indiana, Milwaukee, Memphis, Indiana, Brooklyn. Now, there's some winnable games there, right? You've got a few decent ones. You finish with Minnesota, Golden State again. You've got Washington mixed in there. But the beginning of March, that's rough. You see Milwaukee twice in a couple of weeks. I wouldn't be looking at that schedule and thinking, oh, cool. We've got a big run coming after the trade deadline. You can stockpile wins right now. And they're not doing it. Pretty evident. Zay says pretty evident at this point, as great as Vando is defensively, he can't always be the main point of attack defender. Get a Davion Mitchell or Caruso to be that point of attack defender. And of course, fire the Hamburglar. Yeah, I think that's actually a fantastic point there by Zay. DeJounte Murray lit up Vando. And look, Vando is a very good defensive player. And there's some guards that he can defend. But that's not the optimal situation, right? He can defend guards okay. He's at his best when he's dealing with wings, like a Luka. He's really good defending Luka. And he can defend guards. He's better than like Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell. That's a low bar, but he's better than the other options. But he's not great defending the super quick little guards, nor should he be expected to be. He's a bigger dude. He's just not as quick as some of these guys. And he's very quick for his size. But that's where you probably do need a point of attack defensive guard that can help do some things for you. And that's why I was saying, if it's not a DeJounte Murray trade, go get Alex Caruso. He slots in great. Now, it might cost you a lot, and maybe you're not willing to pay the price, especially given how bad it looks for the organization, right? If the guy that you said, oh, no, we're not, he's not worth that on that contract that he got, a contract that, by the way, now is one of the best deals in the NBA, the optics aren't great. Like, yeah, we made the decision to not bring back Alex Caruso, even though he wanted to come back. And now a few years down the road, we've got to give up like a first to go get him. That doesn't look great. But I think Zay is a point. And yes, you could use a defensive guard. Now, can Gabe Vincent do that? A little bit. He's probably better than your other options. But we don't know if he's going to be healthy. Who knows what he's going to look like when he comes back? And we're probably not seeing him back until at least after the All-Star break. That's what I would imagine. Edward said, obvious to me now that last year was a fluke. The huge roster change in the middle of the season caught everyone off guard. I mean, honestly, I think they're probably going to look to do the same thing. Make a couple of big changes here at the trade deadline, try to bail themselves out again, and off they go. Unfortunately, you don't want to be in that position. You don't want to have to make a move at the trade deadline, but I think that's where they're at right now. Avant Traders said, this franchise is a joke. No stars coming here when they see what this franchise put LeBron and AD through with coaching. Can't even put a winning product on the floor, having two healthy superstars. I mean, it's a fair question. You get that coach that you need, and that can turn things around pretty quick, but LeBron and AD have been in LA for a while now. They've won a championship. They've also had some losing seasons and some seasons that just haven't looked that fun. This hasn't been a fun season. And so is there concern? Is this a front office with the vision to get it done? And again, this was last summer. We thought the front office did a great job and the moves all look good. They did. Some guys have underperformed. Injuries have hit. You've had a lot of problems. And now here you are, needing to make more moves in order to try to fix things. It's not ideal. Not ideal that 2 years in a row, going up to the trade deadline, you've got to fix some things that you weren't able to fix over the summer. This one says, we need Murray. 24 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Yeah, look, DeJounte Murray was great. DeJounte Murray was great in this game. He looked fantastic if this was a Lakers audition. And by the way, how many times, tell me guys, I looked at this game, there were so many times where I went, man, they could use Bogdanović too. Bogdanović, there were so many possessions where he did something and I'm like, yep, he'd be a nice fit for this team. 4 for 9 from 3, 18 points for Bogdanovic, 7 of 15 shooting. He'd be a nice fit. Jem said, all talk about trades. How about talking about the defensive scheme? Trades don't fix their problem. 100%. I've talked about that. 100%. Trades don't solve everything. They have to fix their schemes. They have to fix what's going on with the way they're playing the game. Trades do not solve everything. That's accurate, and we've talked about that. It's not there. This season is not going to be magically fixed by a trade. Can it be helped? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But you got to fix them. You got to quit giving up so many wide open threes. That's been killing them. It does feel like they're playing whack-a-mole a little bit. At the beginning of the season, they couldn't get a defensive rebound to save their lives. They were getting crushed on the offensive glass. That has improved as the season has gone on. But now they're just getting burned on open threes way too often. And some of that is scheme, and it's got to get fixed. Travis said, we start every game behind because of Ham's lineups. When we look at this breakdown, right? And I made the argument over on X. I said that starting Jackson Hayes isn't actually all that crazy. A lot of coaches do this, right? When you lose a guy, a starter is out, you rather than bring up a second team guy, you bring up a third string player rather than bring up your primary backup. Because what happens is, let's say you've got your backup rotation includes Christian Wood, and you bring Christian Wood in the starting lineup. Now you have your starting lineup and your reserve lineup that are dealing with a change. Whereas if you bring up the third string guy and have that guy start, then you're just dealing with a change in your starting lineup, and your reserve lineup still gets to maintain that continuity. There is something to be said for that. So in that sense, I actually got Darvin Ham starting Hayes. But look at the matchups. You've got Taurean Prince, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell. Who's guarding Trae Young? Who's guarding DeJounte Murray? Nobody who has a shot at it. Nobody who has a shot at doing that. You don't have that player on the floor. So on one hand, starting Hayes made some sense just in basic lineup thought process. But if you look at the matchup across the floor, how can you not put Jared Vanderbilt into that game to help defend? And again, he wasn't stopping those guys, but just to help. And if that's the case, you're going to put in Jared Vanderbilt, you're going to be messing with your second rotation anyway. Why not put Christian Wood in, who's been better than Jackson Hayes? Didn't make a lot of sense from that perspective. We start every game behind because of Ham's lineups. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to see. Taurean, D'Lo, Austin, they have their pluses and minuses as players. You don't have a person on the floor on the wing or on the guard position that's going to give you anything in perimeter defense. You're going to get torched. And that's what we're seeing. Look at the point totals, what they're giving up. 138 points tonight, 135 points last night. It's crazy. And you're putting yourself in a deficit on a nightly basis. And then, okay, well, now we're going to plug in Vando. All right, now we're putting in the lineup from last year. That is not a perfect lineup, that has its flaws, but seems to be the lesser of all evils with Vando, Reeves, D'Lo, LeBron, AD. Okay, finally, we're going to go to that lineup, and you guys go dig us out of this hole. Doesn't make sense. Hard to win basketball games like that. When you're playing lineups that just on a conceptual level, you can see the glaring issue with it. Trey said, if Darvin's trying to get Prince another contract after this season, he's done a terrible job. Said, no, we need another protest outside of crypto. No, I mean, I don't think you need another protest outside of, that doesn't look necessarily great for the fan base, but yeah, I think you bring up a decent point that this hasn't even helped Taurean Prince. You know what would help Taurean Prince? Not being asked to do things you're not good at. Right? Like, do things that are actually in your wheelhouse. Do things that you are good at. Come off the bench 15, 20 minutes and be a rotation wing player. Because that's what he is. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially at $4.5 million. That's great. But hey, Taurean, you're our point of attack defender on some of the best scorers in the NBA. Why are you doing that to him? You're not helping Taurean. You're throwing him to the wolves every night. M. Dredd said, Trevor, you can't hide it anymore. You want Ham gone. I want this team playing better, man. And I don't dislike Darvin Ham as a person. Like, I want him to be successful. That's the thing. I want Darvin to be the guy. I want him to figure everything out. I want this team to succeed. I want this team to win so much that they get stability at the coaching position. And Darvin could just, because I think he's legitimately a good dude. I want Darvin to be the coach for the next 10 years because he's so great at what he does. And everybody follows him. And he's this fantastic leader. I want that timeline. That's what I want. But that's not what we've gotten. That's not what we've gotten. And right now, you're starting to see some troubling things. Christian Wood tweeting out LOL. That's not a great sign for your locker room. If you read between the lines, a lot of the comments that are coming out, well, they're not direct shots. They're getting there. Players are frustrated. Players are frustrated. And if things don't change, I think he makes it to the summer, but I fail to see how you don't make a change this summer if it continues like this. Mom Mentality said, can we trade for Trae Young, though? We will give up Reeves, D'Lo, picks, and swaps. Anybody, including Ham, just not AD or LeBron. That's the thing. So technically, you can't use D'Lo's contract in a trade. If we're talking about this summer, I'm assuming that's what you mean, because that's the rumor, right? That the Lakers, well, maybe they're not going to use their first-round pick at this year's trade deadline, the 2029 first, because come June, or come July, actually, they're going to have 3 firsts that they'll have access to. Okay? And then they're going to use that to go get Trae Young. They're going to go get Donovan Mitchell, somebody like that. Problem is, D'Angelo Russell doesn't have to make a decision on his player option until June 29th. And that's not out of the ordinary. That's normal. That's the normal date. LeBron has the same date on his player option. That's normal. But for the Lakers, if you're going to trade your 2024 first, let's say the Pelicans don't take it, you probably want to know what that trade looks like before that pick becomes a player, which it'll become a player in the draft, which is usually around June 20th or somewhere right in there. I don't know. I don't recall the draft date on top of my head, but that means that you don't know if you can use D'Angelo Russell's salary in a trade unless he tells you ahead of time, hey, I'm going to opt in. Because if he opts out, then you don't get to put his salary into a deal. Now, obviously, you want to have open communication with him. And so hopefully these things get figured out in advance. But it could get a little tricky there. If Trae Young is suddenly on the market on draft night and you want to move those 3 picks and you need D'Lo's salary to be in a trade, you may not have that. And you won't know until June 29th. That's in his contract. That's well after the draft. Edward said, trade for Murray, trade for Levine. Well, you can't do both things. Trade AD and LeBron and rebuild. Just do something. Well, okay. I get that. People are frustrated, right? People are frustrated right now. And it's anything has to be better than this. Be careful. Be careful, right? It can get worse. It can get much worse. We've seen that. We've lived that. It can get much worse. We've seen what happens when you overcorrect. We've seen what happens when you panic and you make a move that is ill-fated. We lived that with Russell Westbrook. I've said it before. I'll say it again. No trade is better than a bad trade. You can make things worse. Does that mean I don't want to see a trade? No. No. This team needs moves. This team needs to make moves. But throw caution to the wind, just do something is dangerous. That's what can get you into a bad spot. But yes, they do need to do something. Mission 86, that game did not help my toothache. Well, I'm sorry that you have a toothache there. That's adding injury to the insults here. Whatever, not important. We must beat the Celtics. That's what I care about. Master lock groins. I don't know physically how you would do that. But yeah, beat the Celtics. Find a way. I don't know how. That's going to be a difficult matchup. They're the best team in the NBA right now, which is gross, but they are. Not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. I'll tell you what, if they play like they played tonight, oh, it's going to be a bad night. It's going to be a real bad night. My hope is that the Lakers, AD, by sitting out this game, he'll be healthy on Thursday for Boston, and the Lakers can surprise some people. And maybe they get a hot shooting night, and their defense plays well, and they get a win. That would be great to see. I'd feel a lot better. I feel always a good day when Boston loses. But I don't know. I think the Lakers are going to be a heavy underdog in that one. That's for sure. Alicia said, we're the laughing stock of the league. This is pure embarrassment. I'm not sure any trades would help if Ham's not going to use players the right way. That's the other thing, right? Trades will help so much. But if you're still having all the scheme issues, you're still having all the usage issues, that stuff doesn't get fixed with a trade. It doesn't. Super Dub Hip Hop. Ham trolling Jackson Hayes by every metric is one of the worst players in the NBA. Christian Wood has a plus net rating. Prince a -5 net rating. Vando +4. Ham must go. You're not wrong. My hope when I saw the Jackson Hayes thing, and I mentioned that this is kind of a normal thing that NBA teams do sometimes when they bring up the third string guy. Usually that comes also with a very limited amount of minutes, right? Where that player just plays a few minutes. It's just kind of getting guys into their rhythm, and they'll play a few minutes in the first half, a few minutes in the second half, and then that's about it. And the backup does get the lion's share of the minutes. That's not what happened. Christian Wood played 22 minutes. Jackson Hayes had played 24. Now, Hayes did get some garbage time minutes, but yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Jackson Hayes has not been good. And the Taurean Prince, I feel for Taurean, but my goodness. Like, I've said it before, it's a flashing neon sign right in front of the Lakers. Start Vando. Start him. It doesn't work. It doesn't work to have Taurean in the starting lineup. Doesn't make sense. In Taoism, they say the best government is the one you don't even think about or know. Same with coaches. I'm tired of thinking about Ham. $10, the Zen Master knew this. Phil Jackson was so good. Oh, I'm sure he did. But yeah, it's also correct. Same thing with referees. The best referees are the ones you don't know they're there. Right? Because they're making all the right calls and nothing out of the ordinary is happening. Nothing crazy is happening. Same thing with coaches. They're doing the right things. You don't have anything to worry about. They kind of disappear because who wants to talk about coaches? I don't want to talk about the coach. I want to talk about what some of the best athletes in the world are doing out there on the floor. Hard to do that, though, when you're seeing mistakes like this. Taurean Prince's huge issue is he can't guard anyone. Yeah. And that's why he can't be in the starting lineup. He can shoot the three. But if you... okay, I'll say this. If you're going to start Taurean, one of D'Lo or Austin has to go to the bench. That's it. If you're going to start Taurean, you're starting him at the 2 and bringing in Vando at the 3. And one of D'Lo or Austin goes to the bench. That's the only way you can do it. Because otherwise, what you're asking Taurean to do in the starting lineup is to make up for D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves' defensive issues. He can't do that. It's not fair to ask him to do that. So, if you really want to start Taurean Prince, if that's a goal, okay. You got to bench one of D'Lo or Austin. That's the option. That's the only way it works. AW, it feels like after every loss, I ask myself, what's the expectation for the team now? Any substantial move will go wasted under this coach. AD and Braun era feels so wasted in hindsight. Yeah. I mean, they've had healthy LeBron and AD for the bulk of this season, and they haven't really made the most of it, have they? And even for the course of their Lakers careers, now, of course, injuries have popped up and derailed some things. You won one championship. So because you won a championship and that's so difficult, you can look at this and say, well, in that sense, it's a success because they won a championship. But they've had a lot of down seasons, a lot of frustrating seasons. Last season was frustrating until after the trade deadline. Then basketball became fun again. The season before that, I called it the most miserable season in Lakers history. This season has been closer to that miserable season, certainly, than the post-trade deadline era that we had last season. So in the last 3 seasons, if you include this season, the last 3 seasons, we've had half a season and a playoff run of fun, positive basketball. No wonder Lakers fans are a little bit cranky, right? A little bit frustrated. When you've got LeBron and AD, and now we're on to a third season, you've gotten a 1/2 of a season during that stretch. That's been good. A couple seasons before that 3-season stretch, you win a championship. The 2020-2021 season, as that was maybe not quite as good as we want, that was still a very good team, and I thought was much better, and then got derailed by injuries in the playoffs. Like, I think that team may have won a championship that season had Anthony Davis not gotten injured in the first round. I don't think the Suns were surviving in 2021 against the Lakers if AD stayed healthy. But that team may have won it all that season had AD not got hurt. And then since then, yikes. Sheesh said, we got a Hamburglar robbing our franchise. I like that one. Reem said Ham lost the locker room. LeBron waited for the whole team to leave before he went to the locker room. Need a third star. If AD miss or Braun miss, there's not enough scores. I do think they need somebody else who can score the basketball. I think that's clear. I do think there's something going on in the locker room besides just they're playing poorly. Now, okay, this is coming from the Lakers Nation account. Christian Wood says he meant to quote tweet something he thought was funny, but he accidentally didn't with his LOL tweet. He says the tweet was not basketball related. He did later add that he would love to do more for the team if given more minutes. That's Christian Wood's explanation for his tweet. Christian Wood, up until that LOL tweet, had not put anything out there on Twitter since January 7th when he reposted a Lakers video. So he went most of the month of January without doing anything, and then retweeted or then tweeted out LOL after being quiet for weeks, right? Quiet for weeks on X. He's quiet for weeks, and then he posts LOL right after, like right as the Lakers starting lineup was announced. That feels a little too coincidental for me. I don't buy it. I hope it's true what he's saying and that it wasn't him taking a shot at the lineup or anything like that. But after being silent on X for weeks, to then tweet LOL the moment the lineup comes out and he's not starting, that feels a little too coincidental for me to buy. And I think it does speak to a potentially bigger issue. That's in the locker room. Here's what LeBron said. When asked about the Lakers' energy level, if it was high enough, he said at times it was, but at times it wasn't. That's our record. It is what it is. So LeBron's just saying we are what we are. He also says the Lakers' free throw shooting struggles the last couple of nights start with him. He has struggled from the free throw line. And then he said, we could at any given night beat any team in the NBA. And on any given night, we can get our ass kicked by any team in the NBA. Sums it up nicely. Sums it up nicely. He's right. He's right. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. We'll do a few more. We do need to get into the master lock of the night. You know what? Let's get to the master lock in just a moment here. First, we do need to do our sleeper segment of the night. So let me get to that here. We're going to do a shout out here for our sponsor, and that is Sleeper. They do a fantastic job. Super app, very easy to download. Go check them out. Use our code LakersNation, get a $500 deposit match. We're going to get to the master lock of the night right after this, so you guys can vent a bit. But Sleeper, let me take out some of these picks that we had from the last go-round. We'll clear all that. And let's see what we're going to go with for tonight. We'll make some selections on this contest. Once again, download that Sleeper app, $500 deposit, and that will be matched by Sleeper with that code LakersNation. Let's look at this. Let's go. Let's go Daniel Gafford against the Clippers. I'm not expecting that to be a close game. The Wizards against the Clippers. Daniel Gafford, but the Clippers are missing Ivica Zubac. I think the Wizards are going to miss a lot of shots. I think there's going to be opportunities for offensive rebounds. I think Daniel Gafford can get more than 7.5 rebounds. I think he'll play enough, and he's a good player. He's a guy that I really like. Wouldn't mind if he wound up on the Lakers at the trade deadline. Just saying. So I'm going to go with Daniel Gafford. I'll go 7.5. Chat, again, let me know what you guys think on some of these. We'll just do a few here. Let's do our old friend, Kyle Kuzma. 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists going up against the Clippers. 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Kyle Kuzma. Do we go more or less on that? 33.5. Personally, I think I'm leaning more because I think Kuzma can put up 20 points. The Clippers haven't been a great defensive team. They've been really good offensively. I think he can put up 20 points. Oh, most of the chat, though, is saying under. Okay, I'm going to go with you guys. I was leaning more. I will take less. I will go with you guys. Less than 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined for Kyle Kuzma. We'll see how that one plays out. Alperen Sengun, I've talked a lot about him. He's being one of my favorites. He's going up against the Pelicans. Let's go here. Let's just go 23.5 points. I'm going to say I don't think he gets that. I think that's high. I'm going to go less there as well. We'll do one more here. One more. And let's go with I've been picking on him a lot. I've been picking this guy a lot, but let's go future Laker Donovan Mitchell going up against Detroit. 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists. 38.5 points, rebounds, and assists against Detroit. You need Detroit to stay in long enough to keep this thing close. I think I'm also going to go less on Donovan Mitchell. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Cavs are going to win easy, and Donovan Mitchell is going to play limited minutes. So where are we at? More rebounds for Daniel Gafford, less points, rebounds, and assists for Kyle Kuzma, less points for Alperen Sengun, and less points, rebounds, and assists for Donovan Mitchell. That's our contest on a $20 contest. That is a 10.65x multiplier, potential payout of $213. Again, that's with the Sleeper app. Go check it out. Super easy to play. You guys download it. You can play along with us right here every show. All right, everybody. Let's get into it. Let's do it. The most frustrating thing from this game, we'll get into our favorite segment, and that is the Master Lock of the Night. Chat, fire it off. What is the most frustrating thing from this game?
Master Lock of the Night.
Oh, Neil's already hitting us with Dillon Brooks. Master Lock Dillon Brooks for today and yesterday's game. Gosh, he was annoying and potentially a dangerous play with Jared Vanderbilt in the air, pushing him like that, hitting LeBron in the face. It's now come out what he said to Jared Vanderbilt. Not so nice. Dillon Brooks, very worthy of a Master Lock for that one, but I'm seeing a lot of Darvin Ham. Master Lock effort. Peter says Master Lock effort. Teaneck says Master Lock Ham. Somebody said Master Lock Austin Reeves. Austin finally got the scoring going in this game. Mom Mentality said Master Lock Energy, Hayes, the starters, and Ham. We're doing a bunch of Master Locks here. Somebody's asking, what did Dillon Brooks say to Jared Vanderbilt? Let's put it this way. He called Jared Vanderbilt a cat. I think that's the way I'm going to approach that. He called Jared Vanderbilt a cat, and Jared Vanderbilt responded to that. So, yeah. Let's see what else we've got here. Master Lock missed free throws. That certainly was an issue in this one. Oh, Master Lock Genie. Seeing that one. Master Lock the Lakers for ruining LeBron's late prime. A lot of things to Master Lock in this one. A lot of things to Master Lock here. Yeah, Joe Rivera's got it. That's what he called Mando. I think it's fair to just, at this point, just Master Lock Darvin. That's what I'm going to go with. A Master Lock and Darvin Ham. The lineup didn't make a lot of sense aside from, moving Jackson Hayes to the starting lineup. I got trying to keep your bench unit intact, but I mean, you're putting out a lineup that has no shot of defending the other team's best players. No chance. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? So Darvin Ham gets Master Lock, and you just look at what's gone on. Playing LeBron 37 minutes. Like, I know this was last night's game, but you play LeBron 37 minutes. You play D'Lo 41 minutes. That bled through in tonight's game. Are you shocked they didn't have energy? No, because you played him so many minutes in a blowout game for no reason. Master Lock Darvin Ham. That's the official Master Lock of the night. And Dillon Brooks, certainly. Every night, Dillon Brooks is ready for the Master Lock. All right. We'll do a couple more. The remaining ones that the super chats I don't get to, guys, I'm going to put them over on tomorrow's show. I actually have some left over from last night's show as well. I wasn't able to get to before today's game. The back-to-back stacked up on me here. But let's do a few more of these. We'll call it a night in just a bit. Ivan Garcia said, tonight showed why so many fans are done with Hot Pockets Ham. Is that really what he's being called, Hot Pockets? The rotation doesn't make sense. Even the casual fan notices. Defense was embarrassing. Trade Princess and anyone not named Legoat. See, it's not Prince. It's not Taurean Prince's fault. That's the problem. Like, if you're trading Taurean Prince, it's only so that Darvin can't play him so much, right? Like, that's what you're trying to do. But yeah, I think it's fair that you notice that, like, casual fans are saying, what are you doing? Right? Like, what is this lineup? What are you thinking? Like, let's not forget, this is also the team that ran out a lineup with no guards. No guard, none. Just a bunch of wings and LeBron, which can work in spurts, but especially wings that can't shoot. That happened. So they ran out like Vando when he was at 75%, Cam Reddish, Taurean Prince, LeBron, and AD, and expected that to work. It's crazy. Crazy. Are you mentally prepared for the Celtics to get potentially number 18? No, never. Never. The nightmare scenario is a Clippers-Celtics final. And there's some fans right now that are experiencing that with the Super Bowl, with it being Chiefs 49ers. Who do you pull for there, depending on what your rooting interests are? But That's not the nightmare scenario. Is a Clippers Celtics finals, and I don't know what you do. I mean, you just don't watch, I guess. But that's the nightmare scenario. The hope has to be. See, the problem is the Celtics are the 1 seed, which means they're going to get to avoid one of the Sixers and the Bucks in the second round, and they don't have to see the other one. And that's who I think are the top 3. I think the Bucks are probably on a little bit different tier than the Sixers, but it's close. You really need in the East, you need the Knicks or the Cavs to make like a strong deadline move that bumps them up a tier to knock somebody. Because I would be fine. Look, if it's the Knicks, if it's the Cavs, if it's the Bucks, I don't care if one of those teams makes it out of the East. Great, as long as it's not the Celtics. And then the West, if it's not the Lakers, I just also don't want it to be the Clippers. I don't care if OKC wins it. Great. If it's Denver, I know Denver's annoying, but whatever. I'm not that worried about it. Just not the Clippers. That's where I'm at. Oh, somebody said the Pacers are going to upset them. That would be a lot of fun. That would be the equivalent of like the Lions run this year. If the Pacers made that kind of a run, because they're just a fun team. Yeah. I'd be down for that. I'd be down for that for sure. Mom mentality and Bucks. Sixers will be tired from the battle they have. Yeah, that's true. Ray said, man, Trevor really hates the Celtics. Maybe it's just me, but hard to hate a team you face twice a year. I grew up, though, during Showtime. I grew up during Lakers, Celtics, that being the big thing, right? So it's kind of in my blood, in my DNA. All right. Let's do one more. Oh, boy. It's a trade. Cam said, path to success, Vincent, JHS, and a first-round pick for Caruso and Drummond. Yeah, I would do that. Rui, Prince, and seconds for Bruce Brown. I think the Raptors want a lot more for Bruce Brown, but yes, I would do that. D'Lo and Brown starting, Caruso, Reeves off the bench, balanced defense, adds to needed veteran presence. If you could do that, I'm on board. Sign me up. I think the Bulls will ask for more. I think both teams will ask for more. Both the Bulls and the Raptors will ask for more. But if you can get that done, I'm with you. Welcome in, Mr. Easley, new channel member. By the way, channel members, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to do our members only live. Come join. That'll be your opportunity to actually come on stage. We'll talk Lakers basketball with everybody in here. Again, channel members, that's tomorrow night. If you're not sure how to become a channel member, click that join button down below. You can see the perks that channel members get. You can check that out. Little bonus show for channel members tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Pacific time. Come hang out, and we'll talk some Lakers basketball. Last thing here we'll do, Mr. Easley said, Trevor, what do we do? I think there's 2 things you need to do. I think there's 2 things. You got to make some trades at the deadline. You got to make some trades to add defense, to add shooting, essentially 2-way players. That's what you're looking for. Ideally, a guard, a big, you need those things, but you need to make some deadline moves. That's clear. You also, if you're not going to move on from Darvin Ham, you have to make it clear to him, if you're an organization, that this isn't going beyond this summer unless fixes are made with the scheme, with the way things are happening, with the way things are playing out in the locker room, everywhere else, that you got to change that. If you keep doing what you're doing, it ends this summer. I think that has to be clear. That has to be clear because you have to spark change here. If you're not going to move on from Darvin Ham, you've got to get change somehow. You keep doing this, you're not going to have a great ending to this season. So those are the 2 things I'm doing. If removing Darvin Ham is not on the table, I think that's what you have to do. All right. Oh, the plop says, what do you use to have members jump on stage? Oh, it's very easy. You come into our virtual studio, you just click on a link that I put out in the chat, and people can jump on. And people don't have to turn on their cameras or anything like that if they don't want to. Can just be on talking. Can just sit and watch the show too. You don't have to do anything. You can just hang out. There's no pressure to come on stage and talk or anything like that. So again, we'll do that for channel members tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. All right. thank you again. Super chats I didn't get to in this show, I will add on to tomorrow's show. I appreciate everybody. I hope you guys are able to vent a little bit, feel a little better about the situation now, at least having vented. But tough night, tough couple of nights here for the Lakers. I appreciate you all being here and hanging in there. There is no post game show tonight. Sean Davis is off, so this is going to be it. But yeah, appreciate all you guys coming in, and hopefully we get a better result on Thursday against the Celtics. Gosh, I would feel so much better if they get a win over Boston. All right, everybody. Till next time. See ya and stay safe.